So the Denver Nuggets have just lost to the LA Lakers in the Western Conference Finals in 5 games. And although they lost, they have shown that they're going to be a scary team in the future. And in today's video, I'll be discussing why the Nuggets are the next NBA potential dynasty. Please like this video to show support and help my channel grow. Subscribe to the channel to help me reach 500 subs before the end of 2020. And comment to start a conversation with me. And play that intro. Denver has been great all postseason, with them in the first round coming back from a 3-1 deficit to the Utah Jazz, and them in the second round shocking everyone and their grandma, not only defeating the LA Clippers, who most thought would win it all, but defeating them in an embarrassing way, coming back from a 3-1 deficit. But against the Lakers, they just lost in 5 games. But overall, Denver has to be very happy with how their season has been. They figured out who the second star alongside Nikola Jokic will be, and it will be Jamal Murray, who has been magnificent all playoffs, with him before the bubble being viewed as a slightly above average point guard, and now being viewed as a top 10 or so point guard. In the first round, he went crazy, averaging 31 points per game, 5.6 rebounds, and 6.3 assists on a staggering 55% from the field and 53% from 3. He was the biggest reason they won that series, because Denver didn't have a perimeter scorer to go at Donovan Mitchell, who is just as good as Murray, averaging 36 points per game on 52% from the field. So if Murray didn't play like he did, Utah would have most likely won that series. But in the next round versus the LA Clippers, Jamal was not as spectacular as he was against Utah, but you couldn't have expected him to average 30 with Kawhi, Patrick Beverley, and PG hounding him down. But he still put up 23 points per game, 6 assists on 44% from the field and 43% from 3. Not bad at all. Also, in the Game 7, which would decide who advances to the conference finals, Jamal scored 40 points to close them out. Those series should show how good Jamal can really be. But I'm not going to go 3 minutes into this video without discussing Denver's best player, Nikola Jokic, who time after time has shown he is the best center in the NBA and that he is one of the best playoff performers in the league. And he hasn't just shown it in these playoffs. Even in last year's postseason, he was great, with him helping Denver defeat the Spurs in 7 and pushing the Blazers all the way to 7 and nearly making the conference finals. He did all of this averaging 25 points per game, 13 rebounds per game, and 8 assists on 50% from the field and 39% from 3. And in this year's postseason, even though Murray averaged more points, there's no doubt Jokic was the best player, with him averaging 24 points per game, 10 rebounds, and 6 assists on 51% from the field and 42% from 3. And I think these playoffs has shown Nikola is good enough to be the best player on a championship level team. But you can't be a dynasty with just 2 stars, and that's where Michael Porter Jr. comes in, who I believe can be the Nuggets' 3rd best player. And I think at his best, he can be a top 15 player. He has shown throughout these playoffs that he is capable of scoring and hitting difficult shots. He also fits well alongside Nikola and Jamal, with him not being ball dominant and him being a great cutter. Denver also has Jeremy Grant, who right now is a very good 3-and-D player, but in the next few years I can see him being one of the premier 3-and-D players, and most teams lack a player like that. The fact that Denver can have a legitimate 3-and-D player as good as Grant is very important, because many teams don't have a player like that. Denver also has one of the tallest players ever in Bol Bol, and what makes him so special is the fact that he can dribble and shoot, and he is very athletic. He's also an elite shot blocker, but I must say, I believe his potential and ceiling is a little bit overhyped, especially on this Denver team. Because if he can be a top 15 player, like many believe he can't start on this team, because Denver's best player is a center in Jokic, so he would be coming off the bench. So I think unless he isn't as good as we think, and he's just an average center, for him to reach his full potential, he must join a different team. If I had to make a prediction for his future with the Nuggets, I would guess for them to trade him for assets. Denver also has other very good role players such as Gary Harris Jr., who is a good 3-and-D player. They also have one of the best backup point guards in Monte Morris, who had a big game for them in these playoffs. And they also have Will Barton, who is one of their best scorers in the regular season. Torrey Craig is also a decent perimeter scorer. If I had to make a prediction for their future, I can see them making the finals and winning championships in the future. Anyways guys, that's it for the video. Don't forget to like the video to show support, subscribe to the channel to help me reach 500 subscribers before the end of 2020, and comment to start a conversation with me. Let me know how many championships Denver will win, and also check out these two videos up above if you like this one, and I'm out.